If you were arrested for domestic violence and your number one concern is keeping your record clean, then this video is for you, because I'm going to be going through 5 ways to keep your record clean after you get arrested for domestic violence. My name is Veronica. I'm a defense attorney here in California. I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. I'm also the creator of a course called Defeat the DVRO, in which I teach you how to represent yourself at your restraining order hearing and win. So if that is something that you also need help with in addition to your arrest, make sure you get your free first class in the course via the link down below. Okay, so let's jump right in. You got arrested. You were really concerned about keeping your record clean. Maybe it's because of your job, your professional license, your ambitions for the future. Let's get into those 5 ways to do it. The first 3 are the easiest ways, and the last 2 are still possible, but they are going to be harder. Number 1, get your case dropped before court. Okay, so when you get arrested, the police generate a report, which they give to the prosecutor's office, aka the DA's office. The DA's office then has to look through that report and anything else in the file and determine whether or not they want to file charges against you. They can file more serious charges if they want to, which is rare for domestic violence. Less serious charges go along with whatever the police arrested you for, or drop the whole thing altogether. Obviously, you want to be in that last pile. Now, they could look at the police report and they could look at your lack of criminal record and decide, you know what, this is one that we want to let go. We're going to drop it. That can happen without you doing anything. However, a lot of people who were arrested for the first time do end up getting charges filed against them. What you can do is you can hire an attorney before court to contact the DA's office and do everything possible to increase the likelihood that they will drop the case. For many of my clients, they never even have to go to court as long as they contact me before their first court date. Unfortunately, some people who call my office and end up not hiring me and just waiting to see what happens at the first court date, seeing if they just drop it on their own, end up becoming my clients later after charges were filed. At that point, it is going to be much more difficult to get the case dismissed. And instead of me letting the client know that charges were dropped and that they don't even have to go to court, now they're going to have months, or depending on the case, potentially years of having this case in some way hang over their heads. And sometimes I'll look at the case and I'll think this is one that I should have been able to get the DA to drop before court. But after they file, you miss your chance at that point. It's going to be much more difficult to get it dismissed. Number 2, get the DA to offer classes in exchange for a dismissal. The idea here is that you never plead guilty, you never plead no contest, you simply do domestic violence classes, and then the case gets dismissed. That's a great result. Yes, it would have been better if you had gotten it dropped before court, but your record is clean. Now, this can be difficult to get, and one of the reasons why it is difficult to get is that judges typically do not want to keep cases open where there has been no plea of guilty or no contest. If the DA wants you to do classes in exchange for a dismissal, unfortunately 52 weeks is usually what they want unless there's some big problem with the case and the evidence in the case. 52 classes takes 52 weeks. That's an entire year. The judge may not be willing to keep the case open for that long. What I recommend people do is start those domestic violence classes very early on. I know nobody likes to take them. Nobody likes this advice. I understand. It doesn't make you look guilty. In fact, it makes you look proactive. And it's somewhat of a CYA for the judge and for the prosecutor. I had a case recently where I told my client to go to classes starting at the very beginning of the case. He really didn't want to go to classes. He did give me some pushback, but ultimately he was able to complete his classes for dismissal because by the time that I talked to the prosecutor about it, the prosecutor said, you know what, it's just going to take too long. I wish I could do it. I was able to say, yeah, but he has, I think he had 22 or 24 already done. So it's actually not going to be that long. And because of that, we were able to push it through and he's able to keep his record clean, keep his job, and move on with his life. Number 3, a conditional plea with classes in exchange for dismissal. Okay, so how this works is basically like number 2. And if you do all your classes, you will not have a conviction on your record. So you will not have a criminal record. However, what you have to do in order to accept these classes in exchange for dismissal is enter a conditional plea of either no contest or guilty. In LA County, they are fine with you pleading no contest. In some other counties, Orange in particular, they want it to be guilty. Now, that sounds bad. However, as long as you complete your classes, when you are done with the classes, then you can withdraw your plea, you will not be convicted, and your record is clean. Now again, you will avoid having a criminal record. Even before you withdraw your plea, you will avoid having a criminal record. However, this could be used against you potentially in family law court. It could potentially be an issue with your professional license. And so number 2 is preferable to number 3, but number 3 still helps you avoid having a criminal record. Number 4, cleaning your record. This is also known as expungement, although in the state of California, it is not technically called expungement. It's not a true expungement. Instead, it is a request for dismissal. So let's say the options 1 through 3 just are not going to work for you. The DA will not offer it. You can't get it. The best you can get is maybe some sort of probation, but that does come with a conviction. Now, how it works is that after you have successfully completed probation, then you can ask the judge to dismiss the case. Now, does that completely clean your record? In my experience, when I see people's records, when I request them from the FBI after they have gone through an expungement process, what it will usually show, not always, it's not perfect, but what it will usually show is that there was a conviction and then it was dismissed later. So it doesn't really completely clean your record. Will it show up on a background check that an employer does at that point? Maybe not, but it is better than nothing, and that may be your only option. Now, I mentioned that you have to successfully complete probation. Let's say you're on probation for 3 years for misdemeanor domestic violence probation. After you have completed your classes, because 52 weeks of domestic violence classes will be required as part of that, after you've done all of that, you can apply to the court at the same time that you ask for this expungement or dismissal. You can ask the court to terminate your probation early. So if that is the case, you can then get off probation. You can have your record as clean as it can be at that point and finish all of that up earlier. Number 5 is trial, jury trial. Now, trials can be very difficult to win. They can be expensive. They are time consuming. But if you are left with no other option, if even an expunged conviction is going to mess you up, you're never going to be able to get a job again, your hopes and dreams are going to be dashed, or I had one who was on federal probation, and if he took any sort of plea in our case, then he would go back to federal prison potentially for years. So he had to go to trial in our case. If you're going to go to trial, get the best attorney that you possibly can, someone who's going to put the time and effort and work in. Trial is about confidence, experience, but it's also about preparation. You don't want to end up with an attorney, and I know of some very expensive attorneys who literally will wing it for trial. You want someone who cares about your case, who will do everything that they possibly can to get the case dismissed and win. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, if you are dealing with not just a domestic violence arrest, but also a restraining order, make sure that you get your free first class in Defeat the DVRO. The link is down below in the description box. And if you do need help with your case, feel free to give me a call. You can find my number down below. You can also book a consultation there. And if you did find the video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.